Hey guys, I'm going to keep this short and I'm just going to get right to the point. I wanted to share this video with you today because it is a topic that is on my mind and it has been on my mind for a long time now. And it has to do with something that has stayed with me for my life and it will stay with me for my life. And what I'm talking about is autism. Now, I'm not sure if you guys ever picked up on this when you watch my other video content, but maybe some of you already have figured it out by now. But yes, I do have a form of autism, and in particular is Asperger's syndrome. I was officially diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome back in 2008, I believe. I believe that was the year that happened. And even before that, leading up to that, it has been it had been brought to my attention that I showcase so many traits of autism. So of course I got evaluated with with a you know an medical expert on something like that, and I got the diagnosis. So I'm pretty sure most of you have heard about autism already at this point, but what is it about? Basically, if you have autism, you're basically wired differently in the brain. It doesn't mean you're mentally challenged. It does not mean that, there's something wrong with you. It doesn't mean that, you know, you're psychotic or anything like that. That's not what it's about. When you're autistic, you have a different way of perceiving things. You have a different way of viewing things, how you view the world, how you view your life, um, how you view certain things happening in the world, stuff like that. And behavioral things, how one perceives that. That's what autism should be broken down into, in my opinion. And yeah, there's obviously sensory sensitivities when you have something like autism. Um, Let me give you a few examples here. I personally like to stick to routines. I can be very rigid when it comes to stuff like that. It's common knowledge to everyone, you know, that has autism, that they stick to routines. They don't want to have a sudden break in routines. Otherwise, there's a good chance they'll get all flustered and things like that. And I've experienced that too. So, yeah, so having autism, Asperger's syndrome, I don't like sudden changes to things. I don't like it when I've been doing something a certain way for a long time, then all of a sudden, you know, here's sudden change, deal with it. It doesn't always work that way with me. It just doesn't. And many times I do have to deal with it. I do have to make that change even if I don't want to. I have. So, and also there's like stuff when it comes to distractions and stress. When you're easily distracted by various things that you're not expecting to have happen to you or around you, it gets awful hard to deal with. That's especially the case if you're autistic or if you're on the autism spectrum anywhere. And stress, I think I've mentioned it in other videos anyway, but I don't deal with stress well at all. I never have. I've known that my entire life. Stress is just definitely not a confidence builder by any stretch of the imagination, and it just doesn't agree with me. When I have to deal with stress, I fold like a piece of paper, basically. It happens a lot. And there's only so much stress that I can take throughout the course of a day before I'm like, you know what, time out. I can't do anything else. I just want to lay down on my bed and just rest my eyes. That's what I want to do when I get to that point. But anyway, I have Asperger syndrome, meaning that I'm high functioning autistic. Yes, there are different categories of autism. There's there's low functioning autism where people on that part of the range, they're so inactive that they can't really develop anything as far as activities go. They can't really push themselves to do certain things. Whereas in my case, I'm on the high I'm on the high functioning side of the spectrum, and that means that I'm more than willing to push myself to do certain activities. I'm a self starter. I have been in more ways than one. I'm more than willing to be active in things. I push myself physically. I exercise, I lift weights, so there are differences when it comes to the autism spectrum. Also, you know, there's like a whole bunch of misconceptions concerning autism, and when you say something like this to other people, saying, "Oh, I have autism. Oh, I'm on the autism spectrum," or "I have Asperger syndrome," other people are going to go like, "Oh, wow, well, you can't do much, can you?" Wait, I can do a lot of things. I'm going to make it very clear. I can do a lot of things. And just because I have a condition like that doesn't mean that it's going to stop me from pursuing my dreams. Because, really, why else am I here making this video for you guys right now? You know, no, so having autism should not, and it does not, stop anyone from pursuing their dreams. I want that to be clear. Good old cars passing by. But anyway, you know, there are pros and cons to everything in life. You know, there are pros and cons to having any form of autism. And just to list them real fast, you know, the pros, the advantages to having, Asperger's syndrome, autism, in my opinion only, is that you have like a strengthened focus on certain things. As you have a different perception of things, you tend to focus on certain things more. You have a better focus on certain things. Like, you're trying to like draw a picture or something like that, you know, especially if you're really good at drawing, for example. You tend to focus on certain aspects of drawing that other people probably would not, care to focus on. That's just one example. And, pay great attention to detail, to, the structure of something, such as what I mentioned earlier about sticking to routines. That can be seen as an advantage to having autism, is that you really care about the structure of the things that you're doing. If you know what structure you have for an activity, you just go with it. You don't question it, you just go with it. And that can be seen as an advantage. It's not always an advantage, but it can be seen as one. And work ethic. I believe I've proven in my 9 years as a freelance writer that you have like a heightened, strengthened work ethic. You have that certain commitment to doing a great job, to really dedicating your work to something that's meaningful. And that is a motivator. That is an advantage, in my opinion. So, and for the cons, yeah, there are disadvantages, unfortunately, to having autism, Asperger syndrome. Is that, like I mentioned earlier, you can easily feel overwhelmed, even by things where other people may not be overwhelmed by. You know, um, you know, you also get into this, you get cloistered into this little circle of things where you don't want to be social. You don't really want to socialize. Sometimes you do, but there are many other times, being autistic, you just don't want to socialize. I mean, you could have that opportunity to do it, but you just don't do it because you just don't feel comfortable doing that. And I'm pretty sure you guys have read stories about that countless times on the internet about how this autistic person had a hard time fitting in somewhere because he or she just didn't want to socialize. That is a disadvantage, unfortunately. So, as a disadvantage to having autism, Asperger's syndrome is that if there's just too much going on around you, no matter how big of a group you're in, you know, if even if you're in like a conference room and there's like so much going on, chances are that person who is autistic is just going to try to get up and walk away because it's just too much to handle, So, I mean, it is what it is. Let me just put it that way. And also, in closing, because I don't want to be long winded here, my overall message to others who have autism of any kind, and really this message is also for people who are not autistic, but they have either friends or family members, family relatives that are autistic. This message of mine goes out to you guys. And that would be this. I'm going to pick my words, wisely here. You know, you can take my example of what I've been doing as a freelance writer for 9 years, and you can take my example of what I'm trying to do here in this very moment, and you can use me as an example of what you guys could be doing with your time. Okay, just because you guys have a condition that many other people don't understand should not prevent you from going out there and doing what you want to do, doing what you need to do in order to keep going in life. Because, guys, that's really at the heart of it all. You got to find ways to keep going. You got to find ways to, not just reinvent yourself and not just, create more opportunities for yourself, but you have to let other people know that, hey, I'm not going to let this get me down. Okay, yeah, I have it, but I'm not going to let it anchor me down. I'm not going to let it just ruin me. Okay. I mean, that's my best message to you guys. That is the message to you guys, is that keep on fighting. Okay. For those of you out there who are autistic, who have Asperger's syndrome, you're anywhere on the spectrum, high functioning, low functioning, wherever. Don't let your condition get you down. I mean it. Look at me. Look what I'm trying to do. Look what I've been trying to do for at least 9 years. Look where I'm trying to go with this. If I can do these kinds of things, so can you. Okay. You know, and don't just look at me. Look at so many other people out there. There's like more higher profile people than I ever will be. So, that's it. That's really it. I just wanted to take this time out to reach out to audiences that, either know people who have autism or they themselves have it. So I hope you guys are having a good day today, and more content is on the way. And I just want to reassure you guys, hey, you guys ever want to talk to me about anything, any topic, services or otherwise, just let me know. Thanks.